Well, I know all the Pittsburgh fans are not happy. We tend to spoil our fans here. If you don't go to the Super Bowl every third year, it's like, what's wrong? But Coach Tomlin, they've done a great job. 2 Super Bowls and a little lull the last couple of years, but I think they're going to retool that offensive and defensive line, and they'll be back to the Steeler football that we're used to seeing. We're fired up to be having them on Sunday Night Football, and we're looking forward to our visit to Pittsburgh. Oh, coming to the Steelers was a blessing for me. I was just a stagnant Christian in college. I got here and didn't know how I got here or why, but part of the reason was to get introduced to these guys who really had their faith number one in their life, ahead of their football career, ahead of everything else. I came here in 1977. We had a really, really strong group of Christian athletes. I got put as a roommate with Donnie Shell, who was on fire for the Lord, and I saw the difference between me of just accepting Christ and really living for the Lord. So I started growing as a Christian as a 21-year-old rookie here, and that was a tremendous blessing for me. Changed my life.
Well, I grew up in a Christian home, so I always knew about Jesus, went to church, went to Sunday school. But when I became a late teenage years is when I really got serious about my faith and understood that I was not in a relationship with the Lord. And when I heard about Jesus and decided that I needed to invite him into my life and begin a relationship and a walk with him, was probably 19 years of age and very excited about my relationship and hearing about God and how he would work in my life and it's been so different ever since then.
Well, Coach Knoll had a tremendous amount of success as a coach, but the lesson I learned from him was that football wasn't the most important thing in his life, and he always taught us that your family, your life was way more important. So Saturday mornings were always our time to bring the kids down to work, and we'd be putting our finishing touches on the game plan, and all the kids would be running around at practice. But that was his way of letting us know that, yeah, this game tomorrow is important, but it's not the most important thing. And I kept that tradition in every place that I was a head coach in Tampa and in Indianapolis. And it was really something I learned from Coach Knoll, just to keep the focus in the right place. Well, we did that in Tampa for 6 years, and it was great. I went to Indianapolis, instituted the same thing. And Peyton Manning, our quarterback in Indy, is a little bit of a perfectionist and somewhat of a workaholic. So it was always tough for him to not be able to totally focus on Saturday morning. He'd come to me and say, you know, I understand this, but can we just keep the kids inside? And I said, no, Peyton, this will work. Well, he ended up going to Denver, and in the meantime, having twins. And he went out to Coach Fox in Denver and said, you know what, we ought to have Saturday be family time. And it was just, when I heard that, it really made me think we've come full circle. Something that Coach Knoll taught me, I was able to pass on to someone else.
Okay. Well, I grew up in Sewickley. I came from a pretty large family, 3 brothers and 1 sister. So there were 5 in our family, and then our parents went on to adopt 2 children. So a very big family, lots of relatives that lived nearby in Coraopolis, Moon Township, the Pittsburgh area. And we get together for any occasion. It doesn't take much for us to get together. And we're pretty outgoing, loud, gregarious group, and we just love to have a good time with one another. So it's great to be back, and we always try to get together when someone's back in town and just have fun.
Well, the thing that I've learned over the years is once a Steeler, always a Steeler. And so I got here in 1977, and people think it's my hometown now. And it was a great time of life for me. I worked here 10 years altogether. Playing in that Super Bowl era and then coaching for Coach Knoll and learning the lessons from him and the Rooney family, it really kind of ingrains you in this area. So we have great memories. I didn't go to school and go to college here as Lauren did, but I feel like it's my hometown also. One of the things that we felt like we had to share was how to get through times that aren't beautiful in a marriage. And we lost our son in 2005, and those are things that can take a marriage apart. But what we learned in that was you have to focus on the Lord. You can either, when tough times come in a marriage, you can either run from the Lord or you can run to him. And we chose to run to him, but we also then had to take care of each other and make sure we were still leading our family in the right way.
And we also learned during that time of sorrow that you grieve differently. And Tony grieved differently from I. And it was important to be there, to be supportive for one another and how we grieved. And just because I was more emotional didn't mean that I was grieving in a different, it meant that I was grieving in a different way. But it was important for him to be there for me in my time of grief. And I also for him. And together we were able to walk through this difficult time. Well, I think the Lord has given us both a platform to be used for His glory, for kingdom building. And it's interesting to see in different seasons of our life that God uses us differently, but it's all for His glory. And this season of our lives, we're doing a lot of parenting with the children, and that's kept us busy, but pouring into their lives, but also pouring into others around us and writing books and just sharing our faith and using that platform to reach out to other people is where I see the Lord taking us right now. And we're praying for other opportunities, and I know that in our church we're able to do Bible studies and just help young people in their marriages and in their faith walk, and that's been a blessing.
Is there any coaching in your future? And if not, what will you be doing down the road?
No, there is no coaching in my future, and Lauren and I have prayed about what exactly is the Lord going to do with us. We've had this extra time to do some national stuff and speaking to different places around the country, but more than anything, we've thought about what can we do in our home church, how can we get involved. We're looking at some type of weekly Bible study in our church this fall, and just that's what we're praying about. How can we really get involved in spreading the word right in our local area?